All of you. Starting the program. Please, all of you, mute yourself once you join.
Indu madam inform madidira?
Yes, sir. They are last all mostly join ಆಗ್ತಾರೇನೋ ನಾ ಹೇಳಿದ್ದೆ ಇವತ್ತು
7 o'clock ಜಾಯಿನ್ ಆಗಕ್ಕೆ ಹೇಳಿ.
ಹಾ ಸರ್.
Two minutes. 2 more minutes. We'll start.
Yeah, we are waiting for some more participants to join. Kindly bear with us. Sir, I think we can start the program.
Yeah, sure.
Yes.
Kirtishri, are you ready?
Yes, sir.
Okay. You can start share your screen.
Yeah, sure. It's visible, right, sir? Is it visible?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Shall we start?
Yeah, sure, sir.
Yeah. Indu, ready?
Yes, sir. We can start.
Culture is a way of copying with the world by defining it in detail. Quote, a nation's culture resides in the hearts and in the souls of its people, by Mahatma Gandhi. Friends, we may have a different religions, different languages, different colored skin, but we all belong to one human race. As Kofi Annan says, today we have with us Professor Kirtishri to address on cross-cultural communication.
Okay, thank you, sir.
It's an immense pleasure and warmth and great pleasure to grace all of your presence in the interest of the entire committee. I feel honored to welcome our resource person of today's session, Professor Kirtishri from Dayanand Saga College. I welcome you on behalf of Padma Shri Institute of Management and Sciences, on behalf of the participant I extend a very warm welcome to you, madam.
Okay, thank you, sir.
I also welcome our beloved and respected principal, ma'am, Dr. Anuradha, and her constant effort made us to organize this particular program. Welcome you, ma'am. I also welcome our dear colleagues and the participants of the today's session. So I welcome you all for this session. Before I hand over to Professor Kirtishri, I would like to brief a very brief profile of Kirtishri. Professor Kirtishri is working. Please mute yourself. Please mute yourself. Okay. Professor Kirtishri is working as assistant professor in the Department of English, Dayanand Sagar Business Academy in Kanakpura Road. She's teaching undergraduate students. She's also participated and presented a paper in the national and international seminars. She's also co-authored the book Corporate Communication and has spoken English for corporate jobs. On behalf of the committee and on behalf of Padma Shri Institute of Management Sciences, I welcome you once again, Professor Kirtishri. Over to you.
Okay, thank you, sir. Good evening, one and all present in this meeting. And also I would like to thank Dr. Anuradha, Padma Shri Institute, and also Dr. Thammaya for the opportunity to speak about this topic. Thank you, sir. So hope I'm audible.
Yeah, carry on.
Okay. Thank you, one and all. Good evening also. Good evening, everyone. We know that now the world how growing, we know that at the same time here the world is filled with different cultures and each with its own way. We know that everybody, we know that here they have their own different countries, different cultures, we have their attitudes and also their language, it's different, we know that. And I'm just connecting this topic with the workplace. Nowadays we know that here multinational companies, we know that. So how those companies, whenever we going to, or whenever we become a prospective employees, or if we join to the companies here, obviously we know that we better to know about the cultures of other countries, we know that, and also workers, we know that, our colleagues, or maybe the workplace. So this is what we get to know whenever we join the new companies, we know. Today's topic I wanted to present is cross-cultural communication. Before I'm starting this topic here, just I wanted to say about the communication, because in already previous speakers, they have explained about the communication. Just I wanted to say only in one sentence here, the communication, we know that. So communication is nothing but exchange of information, we know. It may be verbal or non-verbal, we know that. And culture means, we know that here it's a set of ideas, attitudes, values, behavior. This is what we call as culture, we know. So cross-cultural communication. So cultural communication means already you know the meaning of that, and cultural means we know what is the meaning of culture, everything we know. But cross-cultural communication means it's a different kind of people. They have their own attitudes, they have their own language, and they have their own behavior and values. So when we join any companies or MNC companies, we know that already we have many MNC companies even in India, we know that. For example, Microsoft, we know, and IBM, we know that. So many graduates after their education, they are thinking to join for many companies, we know that. That is the time we have to adjust to that company, and also not only for the company but also even for the other colleagues or the workers, we know that here. So why it is important, cross-cultural communication, and how we can be a good worker or the good employee in that company. So that is what we can learn in the cross-cultural communication. So hope everybody you are listening, and also you can get some information from this topic, not only for the study purpose, for the exam purpose, but also in after your graduation, once you join any company, definitely it may helpful to you. Okay. You can see in this image here, there is a few words they have mentioned here: the culture, ethnicity, people, nation, diversity, tradition, and belief. So this is nothing but it's a set of culture. We know that different kind of people, they are very different. All the individuals, they are different. We know that they have their own language, they have their own belief, traditions, and also language also, we know that here. So the set of values or cultures or behavior, this is what we call as culture, we know. And at the same time, communication means it's just an exchange of information. So cross cultural communication means we have to, so just you connect this topic to the workplace. It's not about just learning about the communication. Cross cultural communication means once you join in a multinational companies or the workplace here, we need to adjust with everyone, we know that, and we should have a positive attitude, we know that. So that is the time here. How do you make your work effective through your communication? That is what we can learn in the cross cultural communication. So here there is a definition or the meaning of cross cultural communication. It is a process in which different cultural background people adjust to improve communication with one another. This is what we call as cross-cultural communication. So, or else you can write communication between two or more cultural groups. A cultural groups is called cross-cultural communication. That means here, whenever you join any company, yes, we have to meet many people. They have their own different culture, language, and they have their own attitudes, values. So that we have to incorporate or we have to learn. And with the help of that, once if we learn the other culture, it can be effective. And also we can learn how the other people they'll react, and also they can communicate. So this is what we call as cross-cultural communication. And next here, the today's session, I'm going to speak about, I'm covering 3 topics: dealing with language difference and probing questions to get information. And the third one is etiquette in cross-cultural communication. So here, dealing with language difference, already you might have learned this and all the topics, but here, these topics you have to connect to the cross-cultural communication. In a cross-cultural communication, how you can deal with the language difference. Obviously, we know that here, whenever you go to any companies, or maybe you may get the chance to work in any other countries or the states, we know that that is the time here we may find many difficulties. You may not understand the language, or you may not understand their gestures or the behaviors or the attitude. So that is the time here it may be very difficult to understand their language. So that's the reason here, if you know before itself how the people they communicate at the workplace and how their etiquette, so that it can be helpful you to come out from the language barriers. At the same time, you can have a good relationship and also harmony with the worker. So this is what the point I am covering, the first point. And the second one, probing questions to get information. We know that here probing question means asking questions to get information. We know that here whenever you ask a proper question, definitely we can get the answers. We know that here meaningful answer we may get, we know that here. So here in workplace here, how we can ask proper question, meaningful questions to get meaningful or the proper answer. That is what in a workplace. So here all the topics you have to connect to the workplace, or in multinational companies while you're working. We know that here you have to visit, you have to do the sessions, seminars, you have to meet subordinates from other countries. We know that representatives, we know that that is the time here how you can ask the questions to them to get proper answer and the meaningful answers that we can understand, or that we can cover in this point. And the next one here, the etiquette in cross-cultural communication. Etiquette means, in the previous session already, ma'am might have explained about the etiquettes in workplace. We know that here. So here also the same topic here, etiquettes in cross-cultural communication. So it's a workplace means it's only in one company while you're working here. You should have a good manners. We know that the behavior, we know that set of rules, regulation, we know that. But here etiquettes in cross-cultural communication means that is also similar answers or the similar etiquettes we should have. But when connected to the cross-cultural communication, it differ. The reason is here, we know that here different cultures people we can meet, we know that they have their own attitude, behavior. We know that when we can understand their culture and their attitudes, according to that here we should have a proper etiquette. So these are all the three topics I'm covering in this session. And the first one, okay, this is the image here. You can understand. So what do I do now? And the next second one is, when is he going to take my card? And the third one, he seems to sit okay, friendly. So these are all the few pictures and also with few words or the questions you can find here. So in this here, what you can understand is, once you join for a work here, maybe you may have different and also many questions it comes to your mind. So what should I do here? So he is a delegate from US or the Japan or the China. I met him here. So what is the conversation I should have? So these are all the questions you may have in your mind. So instead of that, before, if you learn about their cultures, their different cultures, we know that every country they have their own culture. We know that whenever you learn their cultures, customs, and also language here, definitely it may helpful to you whenever you meet any business delegates. And not only that here, and another image you can see here, why is she trying to shake my hand? Why is he bowing? That means here, if you don't know here how the business delegates from the other country or the other state, whoever it may be, we know that nowadays business, how it is means, even the multinational companies, it's increasingly accessible. We know that we are shifting toward more digital collaboration across the borders. We know that. So directly we may meet them within a single day. We know that, and we can communicate with a colleague in America or business partner in any company, any Germany, or a customer in Japan. We know that it's very easy because of technology. We know that. So that is the time here. If you know previously how the people are, how their cultures, how we have to greet them. So everything, if you know here, definitely it can be useful in a workplace, and also we can have a good relationship. So this is also one of the example. And here for 2 marks, they may ask you one question. Example for cross-cultural communication. We know that here, every country, as I told you in the beginning, they have their own set of rules, regulations, behavior, belief. That means here, overall, we can say every country or the state, they have their own different cultures. We know that not only states or the cultures, even within your company also, many people, they may have their own cultures. We know that they may speak different languages. They may have their own meaning for the science or the language. We know that, or the slang. We know that here, that is the time here. So how you should come out with a good communication with them. So that is what we can learn. So here in this picture, they have given one picture with the explanation. In America, people shake hands and even hug each other. But in India, the way they greet the people, that is very different. We know that here, for example, hands are joined to say namaskar. So this is what the culture, different country, they have their own cultures. We know that. So they may ask you for 2 marks here. So you have to write example for cultural difference. So for example, not only this, you can write about the language, you can write about the attitudes, you can write about the different slangs. So for example, here they have given another example here. In UK, you can see here in this picture here, there is a gesture. We know that. So here you can use the okay. That means this picture, the meaning of this picture is in UK and USA, it means okay. But in Russia, what is the meaning of this? Zero. And in Japan, it means money. So like that here, and also Brazil, it's insult. So while you are doing any gestures, very careful. You should be very cautious while you're doing any signs or the gestures, because each and every country or the employees, they have their own meaning, their own way of understanding the gestures. So this is just an example I have given here. And next here, strategies for effective cross-cultural communication. So I told you, I have explained about cross-cultural communication and what is the example for cross-cultural communication and why it is important. Why do we need cross-cultural communication? That is what I have explained. And what are the strategies for effective cross-cultural communication? So we know that here, I said in the beginning here, after the graduation, you may join any company and you wanted to work in that company, but you don't know. We know that here, once if you join any company, you can find many people with many different cultures. We know that. That is the time here you need to understand how you can communicate with them and how your communication can be effective, and you can have a good harmony and relationship with them through what here, through your etiquettes and also communication. So here they have given few points for this, and that means the strategies for effective cross-cultural communication. What are the strategies you have to use to have a effective cross-cultural communication? And here they have given the 10 points. Even this is, they may ask you even the exam for 10 marks also. And follow etiquette. So follow etiquette, in the previous session ma'am might have explained about the etiquette. We know that that is in the workplace, and even if you go to any company, or if you want to meet any representative from other state or business delegates from any other countries, here that is the time here you have to follow the etiquette. We know that etiquette means, what is the meaning of that? Etiquette means nothing but the manners, the good manners, that we called as etiquette. We know that here. So while you are following these etiquette, good etiquettes, in the next slide I'll explain you. Follow etiquette means what are the etiquettes you should have, how you should be, how you can communicate with the other delegates, the business delegates. So that is what I'll explain in the next slide. But here, if you want to have effective cross-cultural communication, you should have a good etiquette with the business delegates, and not only business delegates but also with your colleagues, wherever you are working here. So with them you should have a good etiquettes. And next here, avoid slang. So this is very important point. We know that here avoid slang means, and that means we know that everybody, they have their own usage of language. We know that they have their own meaning. We know that. So when you are having a formal communication with any business representative or in the company here, the way you speaking, or the way, we know that here the most educated even English speaker also misunderstand the English slang. We know that, or the idioms or the sayings. We know that. That's the reason here, while you are using any slang here, you should be very careful. And also here, you should aware of what is the slang you are using, and or the expression in corporate sector, whatever you are using, that means you should be very careful. At the same time here, if you misunderstand your slang here, definitely it can end up with the confusion and also worse situation. So that is the reason you better to avoid slang. And also if you are using the slang, you should be very aware of who is the person in front of you. So what is the slang you are using, that you should know properly. And next here, speak slowly. And we know that here, as I told you in the earlier, many speakers and also listeners also, we know that here they are good at speaking, and also even the listening also, we know that. But while you're talking, if they are very comfortable in their mother tongue here, while you speak very fast, they can understand. But while you are speaking very fastly, maybe many people, they couldn't able to understand what you are speaking. That's the reason you better to speak very slowly, so that your communication can be effective and it can be understandable to everyone. And next, keep it simple. So we know that here, whatever, if you are sending any official mail, or if you're conversating with any person, or if you are meeting any delegates, business delegates, or in your workplace here, you have to, whatever you are doing, if you are communicating or through any documents, if you're writing mail or the message, it should be simple, so that here they can understand everything. And also your communication, or whatever you wanted to say, that can be understandable very well manner. Next one here, the practice active listening. We know that here, practice active listening means, I think you know about the difference between the passive listening and active listening. Active listening in the sense here, while you're talking, we should be very effective. We know that. At the same time, even the listening also, while you're listening, if you active listening is nothing but when the person is speaking here, we are very much conscious about that what they are speaking, and also we should be ready to respond to their question. So that we called as active listening. Passive listening, nothing but here you are listening, but you are not very conscious about, you may not wanted to answer back to the a person whoever in front of you. Instead of that, just you are listening. That we call as passive listening, we know that. So you should be very careful while the other person is speaking. So you should be ready to answer to their questions, or if they wanted to continue the conversation, you should also be ready to continue the conversation. So practice listening, active listening, it's very important, because whenever you are active listener, definitely your communication, it may continue, and also you may have good relationship and also rapport with the person in a business or in a workplace. Next, follow one another in conversation. See, this is same, it's just connected to the fifth point here. Follow one another in a conversation means whenever you are an active listener, you get to know here what the person is speaking, so that here you can continue the conversation with the person. So much explanation it's not necessary for this. So follow one another in a conversation is just if any person, if they speak, don't be silent. Instead of that, you have to continue your conversation so that it can be effective. And record and jot down the things. And we know that whenever the business sessions or the seminars, if it is going on, we know that here many people, they may not remember all the points, we know that. So that's the reason you have to jot down, you have to note down all the points, so that here it can be helpful to you in the future. If they ask any question or for your reference, you can keep it. At the same time, here you also get to know here, whenever if you attend any seminars or business seminars, I mean to say here, so whenever in the workplace here, definitely it can helpful to you to jot down or to record the things in any book pad or anything. If you have here, you can jot down the things and avoid yes or no question. And this is very important, we know here, whenever you are talking to any business person, or if you are asking any questions here, don't ask any closed question. Closed question in the sense here, just it's a yes or no question. For example, do you like our company? They may answer just yes or no. And are you already completed your project? Like that, if you ask here, the answer will be, it's not be elaborative, just they may give you yes or no answer. That's the reason you better to ask open-ended question. Open-ended means what is the purpose of meeting? They started to elaborate why they have come here, what is the purpose of the meeting. So like that here, while you're conversating with any person, any business representative or at workplace here, you better to avoid yes or no question. That means here closed questions. Next one, be careful with humor. We know that this is very important point here, and most of the companies, we know that, considered business very serious, we know that. And also there is a time here, if you have a good sense of humor, but you should know here where you have to crack any joke and how it should be according to the situation. You can, what we call here, speak with the person, another person, we know that. And you should ensure you are using the right tone and also proper facial expression, because sometimes you may speak in a positive way, but maybe the chances they may misunderstand that. So that's the reason there'll be a confusion, there'll be an argument because of your humor and also your facial expression. So you should be careful while you are um, um, giving any talking about any humor or cracking any jokes. And next, last one, be concerned and supportive. So at workplace, we know that here we should treat even the non-native speaker, English speaker, or the other speaker also with respect, and also we should speak with them very clearly. For example, you are working in some company here, multinational company here, when if you get to know they are from other state or they are from other country, they may not know your language. That is the time here you may not like talk to them, and also you may not give respect to them. Of that here, if you want to have a good harmony or the yes, if you want to have a good relationship with them here, definitely you should have a respect with them. You have to give respect to them.
Mega, mute yourself. Mega, mute yourself. Meghana. Okay, carry on.
Okay. And how to improve cross-cultural communication. The next one here, the next topic. So I have explained here the strategies here. What are the strategies and how you can improve your cross-cultural communication, and how you should be. That and all the points I have explained. Now here, how to improve. So how you can improve cross-cultural communication? Gain knowledge about different culture. As I told you, you should be like that. If you go to any countries here, you should have follow etiquettes I have explained, and also you should speak slowly. These and all the topics I told you. But before that, here you should gain the knowledge about different culture. So different cultures means we know that here every country, each person, each individual, they have their own cultures, they have their own language, and also they believe, attitude. It's everybody, they have their own different cultures, we know that. So if you learn a knowledge about the different culture, definitely it can helpful to you while you're working. At the same time, if you are doing business seminars or the sessions, or whenever you have a conversation with the business colleagues or the business representative, definitely it may helpful to you. So for that reason, it's better to understand different cultures of different people. So this is what in the beginning itself I told you, cross-cultural communication. Cross-cultural communication means it's a what you call here, um, uh, here the people from different cultural background adjust to improve communication with each other. So because of that reason, you better to understand the different cultures. And second one, improve interpersonal skills. We know that here, while you're talking with anybody here, you have to improve your interpersonal skills, so that here your relationship, and also you may have the good harmony with the person, and also you may have the good rapport with the company, and also maybe the chances of getting promotion also. So this is also one of the main point to improve the cross-cultural communication, and avoid non-verbal hints. And as I told you in the previous point here, so don't use any slang if you don't know the meaning, or example, if you don't know how the people react to your slang here, it's better to avoid that. So like that, avoid non-verbal hints, maybe because it may leads to the misunderstanding and also confusion. So better to avoid non-verbal hints. The next one, be flexible. So we know that here, be flexible means many times in the workplace, um, you should be very flexible, because in global communication, it's better to have a flexibility to understand each other. We know that. So you have to agree, you have to accept even the other cultures, their language and their behavior according to others. We know that our workplace means here we should have a diversity, we know. So that's the reason we should be flexible to understand the other culture and their language. Culture in the sense everything, it comes under that, we know, and their behavior, attitude, values. So according to that, we should be flexible. So these are all the topics. They may ask you even in the exam also for 10 marks, strategies for cross-cultural communication. And for 2 marks, they may ask you meaning of cross-cultural communication and importance. This is for 5 marks. They may ask you in the exam. And not only for the exam purpose, after the graduation, it can be useful if you get to know few points about the cross-cultural communication. Okay, the next topic is dealing with the language difference. So in the beginning itself, I told I'm going to speak about the 3 topics today. So this is the another topic here, dealing with the language difference. So whenever you're working, we know that here language difference, it's common, we know that, because we may not know other languages, and also many difficulties we have to face while we are talking, we know that here. So that is the time here how we can deal with the people, and how we can come out with different languages, and how we can communicate with them. That is very important, we know that. So this is the next topic here, dealing with the language difference. Here, while you're working here, we should use a simple language. So I am not giving you much information about this, we know, because already I told you here, simple language means here it should be understandable to everyone. We should use lucid manner. That means in a simple way, it's better to use instead of using a complex word. And second one, giving cross-cultural language training. This is very important, we know that here, because many employees, they may not aware of other cultures. So that's the reason here in the company, from the company side, if they give any training or the workshop to the employers, it may be helpful, because they can also understand here how other people, their culture, how they speak, everything you can understand, and discuss cultural difference. So it's just not about only giving the training, but also with other employees in the workplace here, it's better to discuss. So what are the cultures difference, what are the difference they have when compared to our culture. So we know that each and every country, they have their own culture, we know that they have their own etiquettes, we know that here. According to that, if we discuss here, it can be more effective, so that even the employees also, they can understand here how they can communicate with the other culture people. And next one here, hire a translator or an interpreter. And we know that here, whenever the business meetings or they may have some um, what we can say here, meetings or the sessions, we know that here. So it's not that here everyone, they have to understand all the language. Sometime here we may not understand. For example, we know that the China people, they may not understand the English, we know that. For that's the reason here, whenever the session it's going on, business session, what will they do here? They'll hire a professional translator, so that here it can helpful to clear up the mistakes and miscommunication among different individuals. And also we know that here sometimes companies will depend on internal individuals who speaks a second language outside of the work. So that is also one of the reason here, it's better to hire a translator or an interpreter. So if you hire any translator here, whatever it may be the language, at the time of meeting, they may helpful, and they may help to the company for the sessions, because we may not understand here sometimes what is the meeting proceedings and what they are saying, other country representatives or at the workplace. That's the reason in a company, for the successful company, if you want to be successful here, definitely it's better to have a or hire a translator or an interpreter, so that they can helpful, and also they can avoid, that means with the help of them we can avoid a miscommunication and also misunderstanding. Next one here, use visuals. We know that here there is a Chinese proverb which says one picture is worth 1,000 words. We know that. So instead of speaking 1,000 words, or instead of saying 1,000 words here, if you show one picture here, definitely it can be understandable. We know that here. So whenever you are doing any sessions, it's better to use graphics, photos, videos, or the diagrams. So whenever if you use it, definitely it can be helpful, so that even the meeting or the session, it can be effectful. And next year, remind employees to be respectful. So this is very important point. We know that here, wherever you are working in any companies, or if you are attending any sessions, we know that they treat others the way you wish to be treated. We know that. So however you treat the other person here, they also treat you as like we know. So that is what the reason here, we should remind employees. For example, here, if you are working in any company here, not only you, but also you better to remind other colleagues to be respectful to others, so that here definitely you can have a better relationship, and also we have to respect to their ideas, feelings, so that we can have a better communication and also better relationship. Next one, encourage employees to explore the other culture. And this is also one of the point already I have explained. To have a good cross-cultural communication, it's better to encourage employees to explore the other culture. So when we started to explore the other culture here, we also get to know what is their language, how we have to speak, and what are the non-verbal and verbal speech should be. Everything we can understand, we know. So with the training, and even we may have translator, interpreter, but we should better to learn personally about the other culture, and be aware of sign and gestures. This is already I have explained here. Whatever the sign, if you are using, and I showed you on picture also, in the different countries, they have their own meaning about their gestures. We know that here. So you should be very aware of whatever the gestures you are using. And moving forward, whatever it may be the misunderstanding you may have in a workplace here, because we are all educated employees, we know that here we may use different usage of gestures in different places. We know that here. And before we make any gestures, or the hand, what you call here, facial expression, or however we are speaking here. So we should be very careful, and also we have to move forward if misunderstanding and misinterpretation that is common in workplace, we know that here, but it is important that we keep move forward in a workplace, and it can lead to a peaceful life also. So this is about the language difference. And I was speaking about probing questions. So what do you mean by probing question? Probing question means nothing but asking questions. So how do you ask question? We know that here, whenever you ask question at workplace, it's not easy. There is a popular saying, garbage in, garbage out. That means here, is to express the idea that computing the other fields. For example, if you put the wrong information in, you will get the wrong information out. So that is the reason whenever you are talking, whenever you are asking any question here, you better to ask a proper question to the person, so that here definitely you can get a answer from that person. So probing question, it's very important in the workplace here. So probing questions, this is, they'll ask you for 2 marks in the exam. It's a questions which force the respondent to think more deeply about the information they recall for their answer in corporate sector. We know that in a corporate sector here, while the person is talking here, we should be an active listener, and also even from our side also, we should ask a proper question to them, so that here it can helpful. At the same time, we can get the proper answer according to our expectation, or sometimes here we may get the information from that person if I ask a proper question. And next one here, so I said you here, probing question, we have to ask a proper question. So what type of question we should ask means, here they have given the 2 types of question. One is closed-ended and also open-ended. Closed-ended question means it's just like what you call yes or no question. It's better to avoid closed-ended question, because we know that here, whenever you wanted to start a conversation with any person here, if you ask a closed-end question here, just they'll say yes or no. Instead of that here, it's better to continue a conversation, so that you can get some information from that person, and also you can build your relationship with, also you can have a good harmony. We know that. That's the reason you better to ask a open-ended question. Open-ended question means nothing but it allows for much longer response. You can get longer response from the person, and usually these type of questions begin with what, why, WH form of question, how, tell me, describe. So these are the words usually they'll ask. So WH question they may ask, and yes or no question, open-ended, that is we know that here the closed-ended question, that is like a multiple choice question. Just if you ask any question here, just they'll say yes or no. So that's the reason at the workplace here, wherever you're working, or at the workplace, you better to ask open-ended question, not the closed-end question. And importance of probing question, this is the next, this is for 2 marks, they may ask you in the exam. What is the important, how we should ask the question? And already I told you open-ended and closed-ended question. And here importance of probing questions are a way of learning. So if we get to know here how we should ask the question and what's the usage of the formal words. So if you get to know here, definitely it's a way of learning. So we know that here many times the way we are asking question here, the other person, he may not answer to that. The reason is the question, it may be wrong, or it may not have a good sense. That's the reason if we get to know here how to ask question, it should be formal or informal. The usage of the words here, definitely the person, their communication, or the person, he may has good relationship, and also communication, it can be effective. And next one, strengthen the relationship. So strengthen the relationship between whom here? Between the workers, or it's not only about the workplace here. While you're working, many chances you may get, you may go to abroad or other states. We know that this is time here. You started to ask many questions to the other person, we know that, and they also started to answer to your question. So it builds relationship between the 2 employees, or the subordinates, or the business colleagues. And next here, avoiding misunderstanding. So this is, many people, they have their own perception about employees, we know that, or the sessions, or the other country culture, we know that. But when you ask question here, whatever you have the misunderstanding about the company, or the person, or maybe the session here, it can clear your misunderstanding, it can avoid the misunderstanding, and also Yeah, it can avoid the misunderstanding. Next one, fourth one here, cogs are the pursue the customer. That means here the pursue the customer means when you ask the question to the another person here, definitely it can persuade a customer here. For example, here if you wanted to know some information from the customer or from the business person or from the representative, you're not talking anything, you're not asking the right question here, definitely your conversation, your the communication, it may stop in between. Instead of that, if you started to ask proper question here, definitely it can continue your communication and you can get information from that person also. Information in the sense here in all the way, it's maybe about the company, it's depend upon the person, whatever the question they are asking. We know that here at workplace here, definitely it can persuade the customer for the further proceedings. So this is also one of the important point we can read in the probing questions. And the next, okay, next topic is etiquettes. Etiquettes, so we know that here etiquettes means it's a good manner. We know that at the same time here, while you're working in any company, hope it's visible to everyone. So here there is a picture, the image, it's visible. So here the different countries people, they are standing and also they are communicating each other, we know that. And they have their own manners. They know here before meeting the another person here what is the etiquette they have to follow. Etiquettes in the previous session ma'am might have explained about in the workplace how we should be, what are the etiquettes we have to follow. And this is also like same similar meaning here we can give to etiquettes, but etiquettes in cross cultural communication. But here in the just in the workplace in a one company here, yes, we should have etiquettes, we know that. We should have a good manners, we know that. And we know that we should use language, the better language, we know that. Attitude, behavior, that and all comes in the point here. The etiquette, we know that comes under the etiquette. But here etiquette in cross cultural communication means, cross culture means we know that the different cultures in a workplace, we know that. So whenever you have a etiquette in a cross cultural communication, definitely you can lead a better communication, you can lead a better leadership. At the same time you can have a good relationship with the other person in the sense here in a business um, field. So here etiquette they have given that this is also for 2 marks. They may ask you in the exam what is the meaning of etiquette. Etiquette means nothing but good manner. It's a combination of politeness, code of behavior that delineates expectation and concern for others. We know that here etiquette, it's just one word here, the good manner. We should know here before meeting a person, before going to any session or the seminar here, how we should be, what is the good manner we should have, how we should talk, what we should not talk, how we should behave. So everything comes under etiquette here. So this is what we should, what you call here, understanding the etiquette. That means here understanding this point here, how we should be, what are the good manners we should have. And next here, below mentioned etiquettes are important for cross-cultural communication. So what are the points we should get to know if we should have an effective cross-cultural communication means here, learn cultures of others. So this is the same point, it's repeating even in first cross-cultural communication also. Importance also, we know that here if you want to have effective cross-cultural communication, we should learn other cultures so that it can helpful to understand the other cultures and others employers, how they are, how their language and how their attitude and how their everything, values, behavior, everything we can understand here. The second one, punctuality. Punctuality, we know that here while you are in a business proceedings, especially we know that here they gives, many companies they gives much importance to the punctuality, we know that here. So they'll give much value to the time, we know that. So according to that here we should follow, and also we should have a we know that time is money in the eyes of what you call many people, we know that here. Example here, Germans and Switzerland people, they'll give much importance to the time, and also here they'll keep everything on track here, and also they have their own punctuality like that here. So according to the what you call here business proceedings or the meeting, if you are attending here, we should know before to understand how the country, how they are giving importance to the punctuality. For example, as I told you, Americans, they'll consider time, it's like a money, and also they'll give much importance to the punctuality. But at the same time, Italy and France here, just what you call, they may not give that much of importance. They, what you call here, they may not treat time is very important. Instead of that, here the business meeting, they may drag sometime. We know that, for example, they may have 1 hour meeting here, but Americans within 1 hour they wanted to complete. They wanted to complete the proceedings of the sessions. But in Italy and France, it's not like that here. The meeting start times are like just guidelines here, so they may not give that much importance. Instead of that, here they'll give much importance to proceedings. So it may drag, or maybe it may start half an hour late here. But here, when compared to Americans, Italy and France, they may not give much importance to the punctuality. But just what you call example, you can write if they ask any question like punctuality, which country they give much importance to the punctuality, they treat time as money. Here you can write Americans, and that too differs from countries, we know that. And next one here, should know communication styles. We know many countries, they have their own style of culture, we know that. They have their own language, we know that here, and they may use different phrases also while they're talking, we know that. So first impression while you're talking, that is very important. If you're dealing with one particular culture, for example, if you are from India here, you should know here while you're attending other business session how you should be, and how your communication style. So according to that here, if you prepare yourself, definitely your session or the meeting with the other colleagues, that can be effective. And next one here, should know communication styles. So the same one here, the communication style already have explained. And next here, the physical contact. And physical contact, it's very sensible point, we know that here. The physical contact in a workplace, many times it create misunderstanding, we know that. And greeting each other, that is a what you call very important. You should know here which country they are following greeting, the way they are greeting to others, we know that. Because here every country, they have their own way of or the style of greeting to the other person, we know that. So like that, for example, Brazil considered the greeting while you are greeting a person here, it's just a sign of trust. But other people, if you touch, for example, we know that here, while you meet a person here, you may hug sometimes, we know that. Sometimes just they'll give the handshake, we know that. So according to the country, according to their culture here, you should be prepared here, how the physical contact should be, how we are going to greet any person. That is what you have to learn. Next one here, the gift giving. So gift giving, many countries, we know that here they'll consider giving gift, it's a just a preference of choice, we know that. They may accept, they may not accept, we know that. For example, and giving gift is common in Japan. They'll accept all the gift, and also it's a common, what you call here, the custom in Japan. But in North Africa, gift giving is a rare in business. They never give any gift. So like this here, every country, they have their own culture. According to that here, we have to follow. And next here, try new things. And try new things means don't compromise your principles. For example, you may have many principles, you should be like that, so this is what the language only I know, only I'm following this. Instead of that here, you should try new things, even while you're having dinner at any business colleague. So if possible here, you better to try that, so that here you can for example, for you may go for any meeting, or you wanted to attend any business session in other country, just imagine. So that is the time here, if you use the culture like their language, dress, table manners, definitely they can also happy. And also your relationship and the rapport with that person or the business colleagues, definitely you can improve. That's the reason here, try new things. Instead of, don't stick on to only your culture. Instead of that here, whatever it may be, the table manners, gestures, language, or the dress here, you better to try the new things. Definitely it can be effectful. It can be means the business proceedings or the meeting. And accommodate differences. Accommodate difference means it's better to have an open mind towards the new culture. Many people, we know that here, for example, in India, we know that at the time of uh, December here, most of the company, they may give you at the time of Christmas 1 or 2 days holidays, we know that. But if you are working in any foreign companies, they'll give you 1 week holiday. So according to that, here you have to adjust, you have to accommodate the difference. We know that some people, you at the same time you may have holiday, but the other people, they may not have, because you might have heard some people there keep saying like, okay, I'm working under London company, so because of that reason today they are celebrating independence, something they may say, so because of that I'm getting holiday. So like that here, so each and every country, they have their own difference. According to that, we have to adjust. Next, ninth one, treat people as individuals. So you better to give respect to everyone and treat them as individuals. Definitely your communication can be effective, and also relationship. And be open-minded, so you can be more adaptable to a unique workplace and new cultures. So definitely your relationship, and also you may have good rapport, and also good relationship with the person. So last one here, importance of etiquette in business. So what is the importance? So you know all the etiquettes, how you should be in the company. If you go to other countries, or if you're meeting any person in other country, how you should, you know everything, all the etiquettes and good manners, everything you know here. What is the use of that? What are the importance? Means you can get a noticeable career advantage. We know that here you can have advantage, maybe sometimes if you sometimes how it is means career advantage, maybe the chances of getting promotion, and also you may get the chances of meeting the many delegates, business delegates in the again and again. Often you may get the chances. We know that here. That's the reason here you better to, not only for your professional life, but also if you know these etiquettes in cross-cultural communication, even your personal life also, you can get the information about other culture, and also it can helpful to you even in profession also, and can gain goodwill from others. So the first point you can connect here again, can gain goodwill from others means whenever you know everything, that means everything is a good manners, etiquette, how we should respond, how we should behave with the other countries in the other culture. Whenever you get that information, definitely here you can gain the goodwill from others. Goodwill means the good name, even the rapport, even the relationship. So even the promotion, sometimes we know that here this is what the benefits you may get, and getting good job or hearing a promotion. And already I have explained here, you can get a promotion or the good job. And next one, exhibit professionalism. This is very important. We know that here professionalism in workplace, that is very important. However you treat the people, you respect the people, according to that in return we can get we can expect respect from others. We know that. That's the reason here professionalism is very important. Professionalism in the sense here, from the beginning I'm explaining you here how you should be, what are the etiquettes you have to follow in the cross-cultural communication. If you follow that, definitely you can have a professionalism. So professionalism in the sense not only in the workplace, but also here if you go to any workshop or the seminars, or in the sense here it's in a business delegates, if you are meeting here, so you should know here how you should respond, how you should talk, and how you should communicate with them. So that is the time here definitely you can maintain good rapport with that person, and also with the company, and gives confidence. We know that whatever you may learn etiquettes, and you may learn about different cultures, we know that, but whenever you are aware of, you know everything, even the etiquettes, even the information about the different culture, definitely you can be confident. And also your work and your, what you call here, the relationship, you can build very effectively with the workplace or at workplace. So these are all the topics okay, I have covered in this today's session. And here the three main topics. The one is here cross-cultural communication. Second one, language barriers and also probing question. And the third one is etiquette in cross-cultural communication. So these are the three main topics. Under that topics here, they may ask you many questions. So while I was doing, I have explained 2 marks question and 5 marks and 10 marks question. Do you have any doubts about these topics? Anyone?
Thank you, Kirtishri, and it's open for a question answer session. Questionnaires. Friends, do you have any doubt, any clarification you're looking at? You can ask. Any questions you have?
Okay.
Any important questions from the examination point of view? Any questions you can just tell them? Expected question, possible questions for the examination purpose. From the examination point of view,
so
if you want to.
Can I repeat a few questions for the examination point of view?
Yeah, please.
So in that question, if they ask any doubts, they can ask me. And they may ask you what's the meaning of cross-cultural communication, or else already I have explained in the first slide here cross-cultural communication, or else they may ask you example for the lack of cross-cultural communication. So you have to write 1 or 2 examples, lack of effective cross-cultural communication. And the third question is here, what are the example for cultural difference? You have to write the cultural difference. Already I told you here, the different country, they have their own cultural difference, even in their language, even in their, we know that here the behavior, attitudes, we know that you have to explain. And why are questioning skills important? I told you here the probing question, why it is important, how it can make you a successful business person or the business proceedings here, how you can be succeed or the effective, that you can write. And what are closed and open end question? Closed end means yes or no, and open end means we know that you are expecting a elaborative answer or the information from the another person. And probing question, they may ask you what is probing question. Probing question is nothing, just it's you are asking a question to the other person to get information. And write any 3 or 4 situation you would use to clarifying the question to get information. So what are the situation you wanted to get some clarification from the other person here? So what type of question you may ask? So that is also one of the question they may ask. And what is etiquette? You know already. And examples for etiquette of punctuality in cross-cultural. So I was telling about the punctuality, in which country they gave much importance to punctuality. So that example you have to write. And these are all the 2 or 5 marks question. And 10 marks question, factors affecting cross-cultural communication and strategies of cross-cultural communication. This is a very important question. What are the strategies to have a cross-cultural communication? That is an important question for 10 marks. And how you can improve cross-cultural communication at workplace. And what are the common challenges you are facing while you are working in a cross-cultural communication? That is also, they may ask you, for example, you can write language barrier, and if you don't know different culture here, how the problems because misunderstanding, so those points you can write. And how to deal with language difference, so this is also already I have explained. So these are all the common questions, important questions they may ask you in the exams.
Okay, thank you, Kirtishri. Friends, the feedback form is posted in the chat box. Kindly fill the feedback form.
Thank you, Dr. Kirtishri. I'm Anuradha from Padma Shri Institute, principal of the institute. I just want to add to all the participants, maybe whatever these 3 days they taught you, maybe from the examination point of view, and some of the basic things what you need to do while communicating with people. And the basic things what they taught will be in general, but I would like to share 1 or 2 experiences of mine, both from the students' perspective and my own perspective. I worked in industry. Generally, now I have a suggestion from you students. Most of you may not be knowing that in recent trend is when you get an interview call from an industry, they are doing background check of your Facebook pages, Instagram pages, and other things. It is very, very important you maintain certain etiquettes when you are maintaining your Facebook page or Instagram page, or even in Zoom DP. Many people will have a habit of giving some different names. No, last time when we had this Zoom the conference, like in a webinar in Zoom, the all the odd names we have just removed. You may be a very serious participant, but we don't want any Zoom bombing here or something here, so we just removed all those people. In a similar way, there are students who has got a very bad etiquette in emailing also. Recently, I received one mail from one of our student. He was mentioning that very old student, I applied for transcripts, how to take my transcripts. If you tell your bank account or college bank account, I will send the money. You please courier it. Not even please, you courier my documents. University transcripts, you have to go to university and you get it done, or you have to request to somebody who will go personally and pick up your transcripts and ask your friend to courier. It is not the way you send a mail directly to principal asking them that their bank account, I will send the amount, you courier it. All these things, it says your what is the kind of communication skill you have. The purpose of keeping corporate communications or communications in business or communications in daily life is not just to write examination or you just pass, get some pass marks. It is to learn how to behave yourself. And the next mail, I have not replied to his mail. He says, hello, why don't you reply to my emails? That is the kind of thing, even I would like to help my students. Immediately, I feel like I just pass it on to somebody, please attend to this. Generally, I attend personally. If I get any mail, you can ask Tamaya sir or anybody. I will, even in the night, I'll call. See, Tamaya, this fellow got the job. It is very important for him, it seems, to take the certificates. Why can't you arrange? These things I do it. Ask Tamaya if you want. But when you send this kind of messages or WhatsApping, and you have a very, very bad habit of using some small shortcuts in WhatsApps. When you send a message to your students, your teachers, you say hi, hello, all these kind of things, it is not a good etiquette, and it is not at all tolerated in the industry, in the jobs where you go. Maybe trends are changing, but still you have to deal with the previous generation bosses. It is not next generation bosses. It might take some more time for you to have the same kind of a boss, same mentality boss for you in your future. That is most important thing. This I want to give you a suggestion. And another one small incident I will share with you, and then you can go ahead. See, when one of our student went for an internship in some company, there she had a problem with her boss. When she wanted to explain that problem to us, instead of forwarding that, instead of copying that thing to us, she just copied boss's email. It went to his own email. Next day, she's been checked out from the company, from the internship. You have to be very careful when you are communicating. Double check the email IDs to whom you are copying, especially when you are forwarding messages. You don't even know what are the messages you are forwarding. All these things you have to really learn and practice from now, so that you can really get into good like a good life of, you can have, can enjoy good uh, employee life, or if you become an entrepreneur, employer life, whatever it is very, very, very important. Both verbal, non-verbal, written, every communication is very, very important. Very, very important. It is not to get 100 out of 100 marks. It is to live happily. Okay. Thank you, Tamaya, for doing this webinar, or the entire communication skills. And I thank all the speakers from Padma Shri group of institutions. Thank you.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Thank you for your guiding and informative words. Definitely, ma'am, this is the most lacuna among the youngsters, today's youngster. They don't know what is etiquette. See, at the present, not only in the profession, everywhere, every sphere of life, every one of us should follow a kind of etiquette which have been instilled and which have been and cultivated, which have been what do you call adapted by our ancestors and our elders from our teachers. We have to follow. We have to adapt those etiquette so that our personality will be developed. Definitely, ma'am. So I hope these youngsters, we are in first year, they are the beginners. They will definitely adapt these kind of etiquette which have been taught from the past 3 days by different speakers. So I'm sure your guiding words will be followed by our youngsters, ma'am. Thank you so much. So formally, we'll conclude the session. Good evening, all. As all good things come to an end in life, so is the workshop. On behalf of Padma Shri Institute of Management and Sciences, I take this opportunity once again to propose vote of thanks to those who have directly or indirectly contributed to this workshop on the essence of effective communication, organized by Padma Shri Institute of Management and Sciences. At the outset, I thank all the resource person from the day one, starting with Professor Medini, followed by Archana and Professor Chetana, and today's guest and the resource person, Professor Kirtashri. Thank you all. We are really enlightened with your knowledge and presence. We are thankful to the Padma Shri management, and a special thanks goes to our beloved principal, Dr. Anuradha Madam, for her enthusiastic and constant support to organize this workshop. Thank you so much, ma'am. A special thanks to the organizing committee, particularly Dr. Indu, making this brochure and technical support in all these 3 days or 4 sessions. Thank you so much, Indu. I thank my dear colleagues and who have joined here from the different colleges. So thank you so much. Last but not the least, I thank all the participants for your active participation. Thank you, one and all. Before I end the meeting, I request all of you to fill the feedback form. You will get the certificate. And hope all of you have enlightened, empowered with some skills. Definitely, I'm sure if these 3 day sessions have organized by Padma Shri Institute of Management Sciences will cater the opportunity to learn the student community kind of skills which have been taught from past 3 days. Definitely, it will be helpful in the examination point of view as well as a personal point of view, professional point of view. It may help you to grow in your career, personal as well as in a professional career. Thank you, one and all. Thanks for joining. So we'll see you soon in the next workshop. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir. Everyone. Hope you all of you given your feedback. I'll be ending the session.
Thank you, Indu.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Anybody from student side want to tell something about the program? They can share their.
Oh, I'm so sorry. If anybody wants to share your experience, you can share. Any students want to speak from other colleges? You can speak in Kannada as well.
Yes. You can unmute yourself and can speak.
No. They are the beginners. They feel shy, I think. So definitely in the coming workshop, they will speak. So let's end the meeting.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Bye-bye.